Hi, this is Rob Drummond with the Confusion Clinic. One of the most common ways to confuse yourself in Infusionsoft and actually break your campaign sequences is by using decision diamonds incorrectly. It's very easy to make mistakes with decision diamonds, so I'm going to give you a way of simplifying your decision diamonds today that I think you might find useful. So I had a situation this week with a client where the client is running a survey or like an application form. People fill in the application form and then we send them to either an accepted sequence if we like their answers or a rejected sequence if we don't think they're a good match for the program. So I've sort of replicated this in very rough format in my Infusionsoft sandbox. So the sort of questions that we're asking were things like, how much money do you have? Obviously these are worded a bit differently, but how much money do you have? So do you have loads of money, some money, no money? How interested are you? Very keen, not very keen. And then make a note of this question here. So we're asking, are you well connected? And they can say, yes, I'm very well connected. I'm somewhat connected. I'm not very connected. Or I'm a loner. I should reiterate that these were not the actual questions that we're answering. I'm purely using this for illustrative purposes. But the thing to note here is that this question has 4 options. Because this is interesting now, because this is going to break our decision diamond in a minute. So I'm going to show you something similar to the decision diamond that we originally set up that we couldn't get to work. So in our campaign then we had a tag which was applied when a contact filled in the application form. Then there would be an accepted sequence and a rejected sequence, and we had a decision diamond in the middle that tells Infusionsoft which way to send the contact based on their answers to the survey. So we originally did this in a single decision diamond, and I want to illustrate how this can get complicated very quickly and how you can easily confuse yourself. So for the application to be accepted, all of these conditions have to be true. So they have to tell us that they have either some money or lots of money. So if their answer to how much money do you have equals no money, then they should be rejected. To be accepted, they also have to be very keen, and they also have to tell us that they are very well connected or somewhat connected. So that's okay. That was actually working quite well because all of these criteria have to apply before the application will be accepted. What we had trouble with was the application rejected, because if any of these are not true, the application needs to be rejected, which means that unlike the accepted path, we couldn't just layer up the arguments with and statements, because if any of these are not true, the contact has to come to the rejected sequence. So for the first few questions work okay, because there's only 1 or 2 options on the drop down. So on the how much money do you have question, there's effectively 3 options: loads of money, some money, and no money, which means that if they say that they have no money, then we can reject them, which is fine. If they say that they are not interested, we can reject them, so that's also fine. Where we run into problems then is on the 4th question, because if you remember on the 4th question, on the how well connected are you, there were 4 possible options. There were very well connected, somewhat connected, not very connected, and I'm a loner. And basically we want to reject people if they either select not very connected or I'm a loner. And that means that this will break, because something you can't really do on decision diamonds is if you're using does not equal logic, you can't then use an or statement on here. So something that in theory should work but in practice doesn't work is I can't say, so if are you well connected does not equal not very connected or I'm a loner. So in theory that should work, and then we wouldn't need this 4th argument. But in practice it just doesn't, because Infusionsoft can't deal with the double logic here. So because we're saying, does a certain field not equal this or this, what you'll generally find is that will usually break your decision diamond. So if you find that confusing, do not worry. Most people who are normal people find decision diamonds confusing once you start to work with them and once you start to build up quite complex arguments. So in this situation, actually, what might be easier is to build out something like this, where we have an application tag that gets applied when someone fills in the application form. And then what I'm doing in this situation is I'm breaking down the questions one by one. So I've got a rejected sequence and then a series of accepted sequences. So in the first diamond, I'm only asking one question. I'm asking, do they have any money? So if they say yes, they got money, then they continue along the application path. If they have no money, then we send them to the rejected sequence. After that, so we know how much money they've got, we then address question 2 in a separate decision diamond. So the reason that I think this is a lot better and a lot simpler is it means that you can address each question or each step of the logic one by one, which actually makes it a lot easier to set up the diamonds. And the easier it is to set up a decision diamond, the less likely you are to make a mistake with it. So then I can ask, how keen, so for the application to continue, they have to be very keen, and we'll reject them if they tell us that they're not keen. And then that troublesome question at the end with the 4 answers becomes a lot easier when we're only considering it in one diamond, because I can now say, so to be accepted, the are you well connected answer has to be very well connected or somewhat connected. And if they say that they are not very well connected or I'm a loner, we can now send them to the rejected pile. And this makes it a lot easier because now we're now addressing each of the arguments in the decision diamond one by one, and you don't end up with a great big long decision diamond logic that frankly is going to confuse you and probably break your campaign. Decision diamonds are, I think, one of the most advanced Infusionsoft topics, and getting to grips with them is quite an advanced skill. If you do have a decision diamond that you're struggling with, that you're struggling to make work, then I have 2 suggestions. One is to break down the diamond into a series of different decision diamonds like this. The second option is to get in touch with me. You can get in touch with me at www.confusionclinic.com and fill in the contact form there, and we'll arrange for me to have a look at your diamond, and I'll see if I can diagnose what is going wrong.